What is going on, guys? So today we're back with another Pokemon Masters video, and today we're actually going to be going over Sabrina and Alakazam. We're going to give them their chance in the limelight, kind of break them down and see what they're all about. So let's do this. So one of the original psychic type trainers that we meet along in our journey is coming along in Pokemon Masters, and Sabrina, of course, is going to get her iconic Alakazam, which will be able to Mega Evolve, actually. So, interestingly, we do play a support role that is weak to Dark type, and that's all fine and dandy, so let's actually jump into some stats here. At level 120, we are going to be hitting an HP of 492, an attack of a whopping 63, a defense of 160, a special attack of 224 before our Mega Evolution. It does go up to 268 afterwards, special defense of 246, and lastly a speed of 326 before and 391 after our Mega Evolution. Now, as far as moves go, we do start out with Psybeam, which is a 2-bar move for 48 base power at 100 accuracy. All's good there. We do have a small chance of leaving the target confused, which I guess is a nice little bonus for that. We do have Dire Hit All, which is great to see, raising our crit rate of all of our allies, not just ourselves, but that will always be very, very welcomed. Our signature trainer move is called Sixth Sense, which will restore a bit of allies' HP, then drastically raise their special attack, and then raise their accuracy. Holy cow, that's a lot. So that's actually quite good. Lastly, we do have Reflect, which actually is going to reduce the physical damage done to our side of the field, which is actually kind of cool. A nice little reduction in the damage is always going to be very welcomed. Now, of course, our sync move, we do need to go over this. It's going to be called ESP Prodigy Psywave, which is a standard Mega Sync move, 160 base power, and of course it will allow us to Mega Evolve until the end of the battle. We do have 3 passives to work with here, starting out with Unflappable, which of course is going to prevent flinching. Speedy Entry, which will raise our speed as soon as we enter the battle. And lastly, we do have Dauntless, which actually prevents our special attack from ever being lowered. So that is actually pretty cool. Once we Mega Evolve, we do actually ditch Psybeam and end up getting Psychic instead, which is a 99 base power for 100 accuracy for 3 bars, which also does have a very small chance of lowering the target's special defense. Which kind of brings me to damage output. So oddly enough, as a support, we do actually have some interesting damage potential here. We are relatively high in special attack with other strikers, and while we do actually have access to a decent move once we Mega Evolve, it really actually puts us in a very favorable position later on in the match. So this turns out to be very cool and almost turns the tables for Sabrina altogether later on in the game. Basically, you want to come into the match, get boosted, throw some buffs around if you want to help your teammates or if you want to just buff yourself, and then basically just drive home with extra damage after you Mega Evolve, which is pretty straightforward. As far as utility goes, though, like I've kind of alluded to already, we are very interesting in our stance here, where we're able to be not only a support role, but also more of a striker-esque role after our sync moves, so that actually does provide some interesting utility. In solo, I would imagine that we just jump into the match, get boosted, and then let our strikers do some damage. Once we get to the point of allowing a sync move, if we end up choosing to use the sync move for Sabrina, which I guess it would kind of depend on what your current striker situation is. If your striker has, for whatever reason, already fainted, maybe, I doubt it, but for whatever reason, if your strikers just aren't, hitting on a whole lot and you want to just go for the sync move with Sabrina, then you could actually end up doing some decent damage with that, and then end up doing even more damage with your new move Psychic after everything has been converted into the Mega Evolution. Now, in co-op, I feel like things are a little bit more likely to pop off for Sabrina here. I feel like we do have some situations where we could end up getting close to our sync move, and maybe Sabrina's the only option that we have that we can go with, or possibly we need to output more damage over the long run, and Sabrina just becomes the most plausible choice. I do think that this is actually pretty cool. I think co-op will definitely be somewhere where Sabrina can really stretch her legs and really shine in some interesting scenarios. Now, as far as future-proofing, as a support character that can end up doing loads of damage, I don't actually see too many sync pairs going that route these days. So this kind of falls into an awkward category, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. With that being said, I would say that this puts Sabrina in a great position to kind of stick around. Having her as a second or a third slot in the co-op team and then getting a few buffs and reconfiguring ourselves to be more of a striker role late game, ooh, that's actually really cool. I think this actually could be something that we could see for a while as more of like a hybrid role if it just doesn't, if the idea itself doesn't get just completely power crept to death here. Now, as far as some team ideas with Sabrina, first thing that comes to mind here is pairing us with another support that can help with some special attacks. Something like Superior or Torch It could be great, while also pairing with a special striker to help fill out the damage. Let Sabrina start off by throwing some dire hits and then using the other supports to boost up our special attack, and then just unleash a flood of damage. Another interesting idea, though, would be to put Lyra and Sabrina together. So this would be an extremely defensive team that could turn more offensive later. Maybe pairing those two together with their shields could provide a nice wall up against some teams. I mean, if there's ever something where, like a mission or something like that, where you have to survive for so many turns, definitely could be plausible. I don't know. I just think it'd be cool to have two shields. As a final verdict, though, I would actually say I'm pretty happy with the way that Sabrina turned out here. She's got loads of speed, lots of special attacks, some decent buffs, and some decent utility as well. I wouldn't be too worried about Sabrina being thrown to the wayside anytime soon, and as far as a tier list placement, I'd actually feel pretty strong with a B placement here. Possibly more towards the A, but we'll have to see when Sabrina finally drops. But I'd love to know what you guys think about Sabrina and Alakazam. Do you like this sync pair? Do you think that they turned out well? Are they going to be something that you actually strive to go for? Let me know down in the comments below. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to switch over and do a quick sync pair scout here. So we are just going to jump into the shop. We are still on the hunt for our freaking dude. Red is coming out in literally a few hours after this video goes live, and I still don't have Steven. All right. On the count of three, if you guys want to follow along, we're gonna go in 1, 2, 3. I'm just defeated, man. I literally feel defeated after this banner. This has been the worst luck trying to get one single sync pair. What's going on, Bugsy? Nice to see you. Not who I wanted to see. But anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thanks so much for watching. As always, remember, if you guys want to join the Discord, it is actually linked down in the description below. Also down there are links to YouTube membership and Patreon if that's your thing. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and head out, but I will catch you guys in the next video.